Hey Shoujo fans, and welcome to episode 57 of Shoujo Sundae. This week, we are going to be reviewing episodes 4 through 6 of Ooku, The Inner Chambers with Rachel, aka Shoujo Scholar, on Twitter. Let's dig in.
Watashi no kokoro ga Anamodo baby, I'd make you more than happy. Kedo yukuri shiyone, brain freeze go chewy. Dekiru kana handle me. Takasugi calorie, sugar ijo amai. Feeling with you next to me, baby. Okawari ne shiagare.
Hi everyone, this is post-edit Chika coming to you guys. I know that you're used to editing Giana, so I think this is my first time doing a post-edit Chika, but I wanted to take the time to record this because we have a guest on this episode, and I kind of wanted to focus on our guest versus kind of talking about myself while we were recording with them. So I'm doing this solo dolo. But anyway, I wanted to announce that I have finally gotten a full-time job. I hope you're applauding. I'm applauding on the inside and holding back tears. It took me 8 or 9 months to get a new full-time job because this job market has been the worst that I've ever seen. I think the last time I had been unemployed, very briefly, it was in 2017. And it did not take this long. It didn't take 4 or 5 interviews, exercises, assignments, like behavioral questions. It didn't take all of that back then to get a job. And so I'm really happy that I finally have a full-time job. And yeah, I just wanted to thank you all for sending me your positive well wishes, prayers, vibes. I felt all of them, and through all of these months, I don't know what life would have been like if I didn't have this podcast, if I didn't have Giana, if I didn't have you listeners. So thank you for just rooting for me and hoping the best for me. And yeah, I will say, I'm not sure if me moving to the West Coast is something that's going to happen, but I do hope to move to a new environment. I'm not sure about that either, but don't worry, it's not going to affect the podcast. But either way, thank you guys so much for supporting me and, being there for me and being a safe space. I don't really know if I will end up announcing this on social media. It might just be a podcast thing. I've kind of felt this need to sort of surround myself with positive energy and, people that care about me and want the best for me. And I know that in all of that, I'm safe with you all. But yeah, so just thank you guys so much for supporting me, and back to the show.
Hello, Rachel. Welcome to the podcast. We are so excited to have you on to talk about Ooku.
Yes.
I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us. So we just have a couple little questions off the bat to help the listeners get to know you. So if you wouldn't mind, maybe tell our Shoujo fans a little bit about yourself.
All right. So I'm Rachel. I am currently a PhD student in American Culture Studies.
Woo-woo.
And I do actually do some studies on shoujo manga and sort of various readings of it. I'm doing a presentation on Basara next month.
I'm so excited.
Sorry.
Oh my god, that's Chika's favorite.
It's my favorite manga. Oh my god, okay. Yeah, I'm doing a presentation on Basara at a conference about the environmental symbolism and sort of how important that is to the story. Being a graduate student, I also teach. I don't get to teach too much about shoujo manga, unfortunately, but I try to work it in when I can, slip it into the lesson.
I love that.
I get jelly of your students sometimes. I'm like, oh, they get to watch cool things.
We do get to watch cool things. That's very true.
Right, that makes you a cool teacher.
It does
Yes.
make me a cool teacher.
Yes. Honestly, you never forget the teachers that showed you cool media.
For real. Oh,
I have had students from previous classes like come up to me and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I would tell my friends like how much fun I had in your class."
Oh, that must be so rewarding.
It really is. I love teaching.
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah.
So our next question for you is, what do you like the most about Shoujose content?
So for me, the primary draw of Shoujose content, and this has been true since I was first introduced to it at like age, I think like 9-10 years old, when my best friend showed me Sailor Moon
Yes.
Yes.
from back when it was on Toonami.
Mm-hmm.
It was the Deke dub, right?
Yeah,
Where we were calling
Yeah.
her Serena.
Yeah, Serena and Darian. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. And for the first time in my entire life, I saw something that had not just like one girl in a group. Because like that was the thing. If you were like into sort of like action shows, like you had the one girl, maybe two, like Power Rangers, you got two, and that was like it. But there were 5 girls in Sailor Moon. And I always really just liked stuff that featured girls like at the center. Like I wanted to read stories from my perspective, wanted to watch stuff from my perspective. So seeing that for the first time, I was like shocked and amazed, and like it just carries through today. I want to read stuff that was and watch stuff that was like written by women and put out there for us too, because it feels so hard to find in general, unless you're really in like to like romance novels.
Yeah, absolutely. We say all the time that like the representation matters, and it is just so good to see something that resembles you reflected back to you with the media you're consuming.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. And with so many, like say for Sailor Moon, for instance, with 5 girls in the cast, you could find one that you really related to.
Yes. Yeah.
Like everyone had their scout that they were like, that's the one that is mine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so our final question for you before we get into this review is, what are your overall thoughts on Ooku, the Inner Chambers?
So I really love this show. I binge watched it all when it first came out over the summer. Like I just like didn't sleep. I just stayed up and watched the show.
Wow, you binge watched it. This is very heavy, so I'm so surprised that you could binge through it.
I couldn't stop watching it though. Like it's heavy, but I
Wow.
couldn't stop. And it was so good. And I just felt like for a lot of those things that I really like, both as a Shoujose enjoyer and a scholar, it was doing something really interesting that I just loved. I even included the first episode in my syllabus for my class last semester because I was like, this is so, it's like, I was like, I'm teaching women, gender, and sexuality studies. So it's like, we're going to do a little, what if there was a matriarchy?
Oh, okay.
So it was really good and really interesting, and I think thought-provoking. It is so heavy, but the gender politics of what is really going on here is so fascinating to me.
Yeah. It's interesting to see how it's turned on its head, but then also how some things still kind of stay true or stay the same in a way.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, that is so fascinating. But at the same time, I do think, like, if somebody is your classic shoujo heroine who's, like, trying to save the world through love and compassion, it's Arikoto.
True. Yes.
Yeah, it is.
The power of love.
He's in the shoujo heroine role.
Yes.
Definitely. All right. With that, I think we are ready to get on into our episodes reviews. I said that weird, but you know what? I'm going to leave it just like that. So getting into episode 4, I definitely need to issue a trigger warning going into episode 4. So 2 things in particular, harm to animals and sexual assault. So if you're not comfortable with that, just know that we're going to be talking about those things at length and going forward. So here is our soft serve summary for episode 4, brought to us by Wikipedia. Arikoto recovers from his beating, and he is introduced to the samurai in the Ooku, who treat him with contempt and rape Gyokuei. They goad Arikoto into an exhausting sword exercise, but later, when Iemitsu visits him, they both show their more gentle sides to each other. She begins to visit him regularly, and they develop respect for each other as they play with the cat she gave him. One night, in revenge for his abuse, Gyokuei kills the cat near the retainer Shigesato's quarters, and he is blamed for the murder. Arikoto intercedes to stop Iemitsu from killing Shigesato, and he is allowed to commit honorable seppuku. From that day, attitudes of the men towards Arikoto shift markedly in his favor, and he accepts the name Oman. However, one day Arikoto and Iemitsu argue over her cruel behavior towards others. She claims that she has had a miserable life, but Arikoto reminds her that she is not the only one who has suffered. And that is our soft serve summary. So, getting into episode themes, I will start with our guest, Rachel. Do you have a theme for this episode?
I do. I really picked up on the theme of sort of like both violence and pain, and how those things are used to enforce control in the inner chambers. So they're most like very specifically used against like Arikoto and Gyokuei, but also they are still used against Iemitsu as well, right? That she talks about how she's been suffering within the inner chambers as well. So everybody sort of has this sort of like cycle of pain and like violence that they're just keep reinforcing on each other over and over, to the point that eventually like an innocent creature suffers over it.
I was not able to write a theme for this episode. I'll explain more when we get to Rocky Road. That I got to a point in the episode and I kind of just, my brain had to take a break. So Chika, do you have a theme for this episode?
Yes, it's more of a quote. Well, not more of a quote. It is a quote from Arikoto where he basically says, "If you think you're the only one who suffers and feels pain, you could not be more wrong."
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Do we have any sprinkles on top? Chika, do you have any?
Not for this one.
Nor do I. Rachel, do you have any?
I do.
Ooh,
so,
cool. Okay.
The hair that she reveals at the end, it's sort of like symbolic of the feminism, like, or not the feminism, the femininity that she is denied, right? Like she has to dress as a man. She has to take her father's name. Like she doesn't get to be herself, and like she doesn't get to even like present as a woman. So she's having the hair like hacked off all of those girls, we find out, right?
Yeah.
And collecting it, it's like one, she's like taking like her pain out on other, but like she reveals it and it's like this thing that's like kept from her and she's taking it from other people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic sprinkle on top.
Yeah. It's just a terrible cycle of abuse. Like,
yeah.
I can't have my femininity, so why can other women have it if I can't?
Like, here's how it feels to have this taken from you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it goes along with what she tells Arikoto, right? That like she feels causing pain to others like reduces her own pain.
Yeah.
And he's shocked. It's because she's the problematic shoujo boy in this one.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Oh my god. Yeah, it really is that way. Do you have any more sprinkles on top, or are we good to move into Floats Your Boat?
I think the death of the cat might also be some
a sprinkle.
Okay.
A bad sprinkle.
A bad sprinkle. Yeah.
The one that you like, or like, I should like flick that out of the sundae cup. It doesn't look too good.
Or it doesn't taste good. Like those type. Yeah. Yeah.
Or like it was in plastic. You ever eat something out of like a plastic bag and it tastes like the plastic bag it was in?
Yeah.
Sorry, that's it.
That's it exactly.
Yes.
But I think the symbolism for poor Murasaki is that all of this violence winds up happening to something that, like, so doesn't deserve it. And she reflects the pain of, like, Arikoto being locked there and Gyokuei being sexually assaulted, that, like, all of this harm to innocence, like, finally transfers on to, like...
an actual innocent, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let us shift into Floats Your Boat. Chika, let's start with you. What is one of your Floats Your Boat?
Yeah, so because of the way that the episode was, I only have 4.
I only have 2. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
The first one being, of course, that Waka Murasaki is such a cute cat.
Yeah. I also had obsessed with the cat every single time it's on screen. Rachel, what do you have?
The cat is really cute.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, God. All right.
The moments they get to bond over it are really cute.
Yes.
They drew it so happy. They drew it such a happy cat.
Yeah. Just a cutie. Like,
Yeah. Oh my gosh. My other Floats Your Boat is really, really general. I just put that Arikoto is just so kind, so honorable, honest, and knows how to clap back when he needs to. So just more love to Arikoto and Floats Your Boat for me.
Yeah. Oh, actually, that was my second one was Arikoto when he was standing up for Iemitsu to the grooms that were bad-mouthing her. Because it's just like, this person literally had slapped the shit out of you. Like, yeah, you had a cat, but she slapped the shit out of you with the fan, and he's still just being like, you can't talk bad about her.
Yeah.
So I thought that was very, like, noble of him.
I agree. Yeah.
I have that down in my likes, too. But I do have it noted in that, like, I really like the role reversal, like, that you see in typical shoujo, right? Like, I said Arikoto is your shoujo heroine who's too forgiving.
Yes. Yes.
Too nice.
Wow. Yeah.
And Iemitsu is the jerk love interest who has had, like,
oh my gosh,
a bad life, right? Like, we get the tragic backstory that explains why she is this way, and you're like, oh, well, she's just had a really hard life. I try to cut her some slack, because I know if she was a man that, like, people would be like, well, it's all explainable because she had a hard life.
True.
Right.
Like, this is...
Are you going to say what I think you're going to say?
I was going to say that Iemitsu has the type of hard life that Ko from Blue Spring Ride wanted to have. Makes him so mean to Futaba.
But somehow, like, Iemitsu is more redeemable, in my opinion, than Ko.
Yes.
Just
slightly
upset all
more.
the Blue Spring Ride fans all over again.
Yeah, sorry, y'all.
Sorry.
If you want to hear us say positive things, go find our audiograms.
Right, and that is it. Those are the only moments. Oh, man. Do we have any more Floats Your Boat from anybody? Because I do not have any left. I'm sorry.
I don't either, because it's really hard. So I'm like,
yes.
I'm enjoying it, but also I'm in pain.
Okay, yeah.
I have 2. I compartmentalized one of them. So the one I compartmentalized was Gyokuei defending Arikoto after they put a dead mouse in his soup.
Okay, yeah.
And so I compartmentalized to just be like, he was valiantly defending Arikoto, because that's really fucked up.
Yes, I will agree with that.
Yeah. And then the other one I have is, you know, at the end where Arikoto is basically defending himself, but also, like, giving Iemitsu a reality check. Like, you are not the only one that has suffered. He was taken against his will to serve her.
Yeah.
And then Iemitsu started crying. I don't know why I wrote that out. What's your boat? But yeah, that was just like, yeah, it's not just you and stuff. But yeah, so that's the last thing I had.
Okay, so moving into Banana Split, I'm going to lighten the mood because I only have one Banana Split and it's a joke. And I forget who said this to Arikoto, but they were like, it's nice to know what our liege prefers. Soft, effeminate lover boys like you. I'm like, don't fucking read me like that, bro.
Right? There's nothing wrong with that. I love Taemin from Shiny.
I love a guy with some feminine energy. Don't at me.
Yeah.
It's not his fault. He's so pretty.
Right.
Right. And then it's like, you're making fun, but like literally that's why he was brought here. So maybe if you were a little bit prettier, he wouldn't be over here.
Exactly. Rachel, do you have any banana split?
I do not.
Okay. Chika, do you have any?
Yeah. So what I put here was that, the secret Swain started with Iemitsu, which I was just like, that's interesting. We find out more.
Yes.
But before we find out more, I was like, okay. That's kind of fucked up. But then I like the way that she smacked Arikoto with the fan. I was just like, well, why not? You know, this is before I knew what happened. I was just like, I figured. Like, okay. Then, Iemitsu saying that she's a walking womb. I don't know if I think rationally, if I liked her more, this would be more ice cream, you scream, because I get where she's coming from. But I was also pissed off.
Yeah.
So that's why I was just like, So if anything, it's like a combo.
I do think it's really interesting when she like brings that up, that her and Arikoto have like so many of the same reasons, like for being brought there.
Yeah.
That she is also just there to like make a baby. And he is also just there to make a baby. Like, they are in really similar circumstances. But she, of course, has, like, slightly more power than him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say she's got all the power, though.
No.
As we see later.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it's like they're just both walking, like, genitalia.
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah.
She just gets humored a little more because she happens to have been related to the Shogun, right? Like,
Yeah. And then the last thing that I have is, I wrote this after Arikoto was doing the sword swipes, the 1,000 sword swipes. But I said that I get that Gyokuei wants to defend Arikoto, but he ends up getting Arikoto into unnecessary situations because Arikoto wants to cover for Gyokuei. Like, he will be so adamant, like, he can't do this. And then it's just like, shut up, we don't really have a choice. And I'm going to do it so that nothing else happens.
Right.
Yeah.
I have nothing good to say about Gyokuei anymore. Sorry.
It's okay. Like, I mean, it's not even that it wasn't even good. It was just more so that I didn't really like that about him, because I think that's just a trait that I've seen in all of the episodes we've watched, where it's just like he will say something or he'd be so adamant, and it's just like Arikoto trying to cover his ass for the most part. Right.
No, I think I meant to come out more like I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I can sympathize with Gyokuei for what he's been through, but I hate him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Are we good to move into Rocky Road?
yes.
Okay, I'm going to start with the not obvious thing and start with a quote from Arikoto, because he's like very miserable at one point, and he thinks to himself, I don't want to have to think anymore. And I'm sure all of us at some point have gotten to that place where it's like, oh, I need media on at all times, so my brain is never left to go to the places I don't want it to go, and stuff like that. So that resonated, and I felt really bad for Arikoto hearing that he was at that place.
That's on mine too. And and when you put it that way too, when we first locked down in March 2020, I played Stardew Valley from like waking up in the morning till going to bed at night.
I didn't know you were a fellow Stardew Valley player.
I'm a fellow Stardew Valley player.
I'm so sorry to derail. I know this is serious. Who do you romance?
I didn't play it, but y'all are kin.
Yes. I romance. It's been a minute since I played, so don't judge me too much that I forgot my husband's name.
It's okay.
Okay. Elliot. I romanced Elliot.
Amazing. I could so see that for you. I love it.
But I was playing it, like, that was my 1,000 sword swings, was getting up and, like, clocking into that farm like it was my actual job.
Yes.
Despite the fact that, like, I was doing my master's degree at the time, and I had a thesis that I was supposed to be writing. I remember emailing my professor at the time and just being like, hey, it's not getting done this semester. It's just not happening.
Right. Like, the world's, like, kind of ending. Even if it's not apocalyptic, the world that we once knew is literally ending. Like, please give me, like, some slack.
Yeah. I feel you. Like, when I was getting my grad degree, it was the final semester. I was in my final semester, and then I had used my student loan money to pay for my apartment, but I was going to run out of money, and I was unemployed at that time. And so the way I got around doing work was that I just said somebody very close to me died. And I just use basically, I think, every waking hour to get eventually like a job with an NGO. And once I got that job, I went back and I was like, okay, I'm feeling better. I'm about to turn in all my work. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh.
Because I was just like, I have to figure something out, or I'm going to be on the street, which I wouldn't have been on the street. But I was like, unemployment does things to people, but still, like, yeah.
It is really rough. And yeah, like, sometimes you just need to, like, that. I get wanting to just, like, lay face down on the floor and not have to think about anything. And it's heartbreaking because he's so kind. Like, he's so good. None of this should be happening to him.
Right. What a beautiful soul he has. All he wants to do is serve others and save people, like, heal them in whatever way they need healing, and serve Buddha. Like, he gets all of that taken away from him to, like, go have a baby with someone he'd never met. Damn. Chika, what is one of your rocky roads?
The only one that I have is Iemitsu's daughter dying.
Okay, I have that too.
Yeah. Like, when you hear about it, you feel sad, and then we'll talk more about it in the next episode and stuff. But I was just like, oh, you know what? Maybe that, once she said that, I was like, maybe that's playing into, like, why she's being the way that she is. Because I don't think we have an idea, like, of how old is Iemitsu technically in the timeline of this.
I don't remember.
She was 15 when she had the baby, though.
Right. So I'm just wondering, like, I mean, there's always good child loss. You're always going to feel that pain. But then I'm just kind of like, how long has it been since it happened? Because, like, maybe that's just a different form of depression that we're, like, seeing, like, come out through her, and, like, the way she's treating people. Because she can't contain her pain on the inside, so that's why she's so harsh to others.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much time has passed. I can't remember if they made that clear.
Yeah.
Rachel, do you have any more rocky road?
I do. I was really sad also by Murasaki's death.
Yeah.
And then also Gyokuei's sexual assault was, like, really upsetting.
Yeah, I think I had that in Hot Fudge, but yeah.
I did as well, yeah.
And also Murasaki too, but yeah. It goes into both, yeah.
Both of those things overlap, Rocky Road and Hot Fudge, for me, yeah.
Exactly, I'm both saddened and infuriated. But yeah, both of them. And the way that he is assaulted and then, like, still, like, afterwards what he does is, like, he goes to, like, talk to the kitchen people about Arikoto and, like, how unacceptable it was that there was a rat in his food, like, rather than, like, being able to be, like, taken care of after something that so terrible had happened to him.
Yeah. I think it's just overall really, like, traumatic, and I think, if anything, if I would have put it in my Rocky Road, I would just say he never tells Arikoto at all.
Right.
The fact that he just, like, goes through it alone.
Yeah.
And, like, you could tell because, like, his shirt was, like, messed up. So it's like he was trying to hide that it happened to him, which is really, like, sad. But I think maybe in that he understands Arikoto enough to know that this would break him. in a way. So he just doesn't expose that to him. Or maybe it's also him slightly denying it himself too.
Right. To kind of pretend that it didn't happen, maybe. Just so that he can carry on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Is that it for Rocky Road? I'm going to save the other stuff since it's overlapping into Hot Fudge. We can talk about Murasaki. It might just get a little Rocky Roady when we get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, nuts. I actually have a couple nuts points, which is just like shocking or like, wow, kind of took you by surprise moments. I will just start with a quote. When like Arikoto and Iemitsu were talking, I think it was at like the end of the episode right before he's saying like, you're not the only person who has suffered. He said, what about if there's an enemy you can't touch? How will you handle that? And she says, I'll simply slay someone who happens to be nearby. There are plenty of people around here with lives not worth living. And that is also overlap Hot Fudge. But like my jaw dropped. So I was like, well, I'm going to put it in nuts. But that's like really wild that she thinks that is okay logic. Like, what?
Yeah. Because, I mean, it's just so harsh. It's like twofold. Because she's saying that there are people in the Ooku that have lives that aren't worth living. But they're living for her.
Right.
So for me, it's like on one point, like, okay, you're saying that your life isn't worth living because you're saying that their life isn't worth living and they're living to please you. And then to have these people, some of them brought against their will, living to please you, and you're just deciding that their life isn't worth it. It's just not fair in the sense that it would be one thing if these people actively chose, knew what it would entail to be there, and instead you would just kill them just because you wanted to get like to fix your feelings.
Right. Like, what a leap.
It's the spoiled brat of it all. Like, it's her
essentially
spoiled brat tendencies leaping right out.
Yeah.
Because she can get away with it.
Yeah.
Rachel, do you have any nuts points?
I do. So I was thinking back to when I first watched this, the moments that I was like, oh my gosh, finding out the Shogun was the person like ordering people to have their hair cut. The like,
yes,
yeah,
I have that too.
Me too. That's the only one I had for nuts, but yeah.
Like when the box of hair drops. It's just like,
right.
Oh my God, what is wrong with her?
Yeah, I was not expecting that at all.
Yeah. I think I don't know why, I mentally attributed it to her father. But then her father's been dead. So it's like,
right. Okay,
in the current timeline, it couldn't keep going on. So who is doing it? And it's her.
Yep.
The like little symbolism that I added in this time, that was due to a second watch and me being like a little more empathetic and trying to like be understanding.
Well, yeah.
But like I still remember the first time I saw that, I was like, oh my God. I'm glad he yells at her after that.
Yeah.
Me too. Me too.
I'm like, what are you going to do with all that hair? I'm like, are you going to make a wig?
Right. Like, what are you doing with it? Like, it's just like a trophy case.
Ooh.
A weird trophy case.
Like serial killer trophy case.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
And her response being like, well, I didn't kill him. Nobody died.
Right.
But, still like how terrifying to be like a woman walking along at night and someone just comes up and grabs you and cuts your hair.
Yeah.
Right. New fear unlocked.
And then on top of it, like the meaning of hair to women, I would think, especially during those times, it's probably really important. Like, it's probably one of their beauty standards. So you're just taking this like violently away from them. It's really sad.
Right?
Yeah.
When we see that girl, the Arikoto, like a few episodes earlier, that like ties this through, she's covering her head in like shame. She doesn't want to be seen with like her hair cut the way it is. And she even apologizes for it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not her fault. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it turns out it's the Shogun's fault.
Right. Oh, with that said, why don't we get into Hot Fudge? I'm just going to start by, I wrote in all caps with a lot of exclamation points, rat in the soup.
Yeah.
I gagged. Like, I mean, I don't really know how much I can even elaborate. Like, there was someone put a rat in his soup. Like,
y'all, like, you don't know, like, what it's like, because, like, the other apartment that I used to be at, Giana, I know I talked about this before.
it's okay. You can go off.
But when I lived in this apartment, they made it seem like it was so nice. That shit had an infestation.
Ugh.
So not only were there roaches, there were mice on the 11th floor.
Oh my
And
God.
I had to catch 3 mice. If I saw a mouse in my food, we're all going to die. Everybody is dying because I'm not going to jail. We're all going to die. That's it. Like, in his soup. No, like, I am burning everything to the ground.
Yes.
Just,
And it would be easy that those places were mostly like paper and wood. So it go up
it
fast.
would go, everybody's gonna go. We're all done. Oku out. Like, officially. Y'all are defending shit. I would be like, get me, what is it? The oil, is it oil? What's the thing that they put on to make the fire go up really fast?
Kerosene?
Yeah, like that. I don't know if they had it back then. I would find some sort of, like, equivalent or create a prototype. We're all gonna go. Like,
We're scientists now. Like,
yes.
There's like such disorganization in there. Like, who's letting these men behave like this?
truly.
Right.
Like your little prize captive brought here for baby making purposes, and you just letting him get bullied? Like, come on. Like, where are the standards?
Right. Because all he wanted to do was pray to God. Like,
That's it. Then that is all. Like,
well.
Rachel, do you have any hot fudge?
Oh yeah, honestly, like, it ties into so much of this, right? Those samurai bullies. I am like incensed. I'm like, mind your own business. Like, maybe if you were like spending your days like worrying about you could be fathering the next shogun. Like, have you considered that?
Right.
But no, instead they're putting rats in people's soup, sexually assaulting Gyokuei. They're just being the worst people on the planet. And like, I have no empathy
Nope.
for them.
Me neither.
I do not care that the one is like forced to kill himself. I'm like, couldn't have happened to a better person, if you ask me.
Like,
Right.
I think it's just the way it ended up happening, which, I mean, it's also because it's also hot fudge, but still, it's like, I mean, prior to what happened, Gyokuei was annoying, but I don't think that he should have been raped. And I think him just trying to defend Arikoto, it's not wrong. Like, I don't even know how you get to that escalation, because I think it's less pleasure and more about dominance, for at least in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just so disgusting to me, and part of me wished he had either hinted at it to Arikoto, because Arikoto could then just go to Iemitsu and just be like, these 3 people were saying terrible things about you. And, I don't know, slightly overflate what was said to get them killed.
I don't think he would have to even overinflate what they were saying. Given, like, Iemitsu's temper, I think that she would kill them just for saying bad stuff about her.
Yeah.
She might kill them if they're just around when
Right.
somebody else says something bad
Right.
about
Yeah.
her, apparently. So.
She would do it for less.
There were other ways to get the revenge he wanted, and I'm so fucking mad about it.
Right.
Well, like, the real problem was Arikoto would probably never go do something that would seek those men's life, is like the other thing. Although, like, Gyokuei could probably also just go and tell her what they were saying about
Yeah.
him. Like, it's not, it wasn't necessary the way he went about it. But, like, also, yeah, he didn't deserve what happened to him either. And I absolutely agree. It was about, like, dominance and, like, punishment. It was showing him who's boss, punishing him for attempting to, like, stand up for Arikoto, stand up against them, to really, like, try and put him in his place.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm wondering why he didn't. I mean, he doesn't kill the other ones and the other... I was waiting for that. I'm like, shit, well, you orchestrated this one, like, might as well, because it was a gang rape, at least the way that they were talking about it in the scene. So... Yeah.
Probably, like, no way to frame them for... There's only the one cat.
Right. True.
Mm. So there is but one hot fudge left, and that would be Gyokuei murdering the cat. And I personally want to be open and honest with our listeners and let you all know I got triggered really bad watching this episode. 'Cause I have a baby girl who is currently in my lap as we record. Her name is Soleil, if you do not know her. And there's just always been this thing with me and cats in particular being harmed in media that, like, gets to me in, like, a very, very deep way that is hard to shake. And I did not know this was happening. And when I saw it coming, I really hoped it wouldn't go there. And then it went there and it kept going there. So this episode was very hard for me to get through. And all of that said, I put this in hot fudge because I could not put it in floats your boat because it had to do with the death of the cat. But I just want to say that Iemitsu's reaction to the death of that cat is entirely justified, because if somebody hurt Soleil, it would be impossible to stop me from doing whatever I felt like I had to do about that. Yeah.
We're all going down again.
We're all going down. There's nobody's coming out of it.
just straight arson. Like, let's just
go straight. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I wish I could just, like, let you guys pet Soleil right now through the screen, because I feel like we all need it. I don't think it's just me who needs it, but, like, she's so perfect, you guys. I can't go on enough about her.
And it's just like... And this is why it, like, crosses those boundaries between, like, hot fudge and, like, a rocky road, right?
Yeah.
Also, like, what infuriated me was that, like, that cat walked right up to him, too. Like, she was, like...
With full trust.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Like, I could literally cry. I literally can't think about it.
That was one time her reaction was proportionate. I have dogs myself. The only reason I don't have cats is because one of my dogs would chase them, and I'm just like, you deserve a better life than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, if someone hurt my dogs, we're all going down.
Nobody's coming out.
Nobody's coming out. Like,
it's over.
Yeah,
it's over.
It's over. Simply.
Yeah.
Honestly, I might have killed for Murasaki anyways, just like on-screen animated. She was cute.
Right.
Isekai me into Ooku. I'm never the one to say isekai me in, but fucking isekai me into Ooku. And I'm suddenly going to be a sword master. Like, oh.
You would do a fake out. You would be like, he's just like, don't do it. Don't do it. And then Kasuga's like, oh, I could do it for you. She's like, oh, yeah. And then as soon as Arikoto stepped back, no, bitch, bam. Like,
after I watched this episode and before I could even really collect myself, I was just, Soleil usually is around me, but that happened to be the afternoon. I guess she decided to take a little nap under my bed, which she has not slept under my bed in a really long time. So I'm just like... I might cut this out because this is, like, probably oversharing. I'm literally laying on my floor with my arm under the bed to, like, reach her. Just to be like, I love you, baby girl. This episode hit me really hard, so. But we got through it.
Yeah, we got through it. Yeah.
Yeah.
The compounding factor for Iemitsu, too, that, like, she's like, the cat reminds me of my... Like, she also is associating that cat as, like, her baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like she can never keep them.
Right. And it's, like, out of her control, but still taken from her.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any more hot fudge?
I didn't like how Arikoto was grabbed to do swordmanship, because it's like, you could just lead him there. You didn't have to grab him.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's just, like, unnecessary aggression. Like, if y'all are that mad because you haven't been able to bop Iemitsu, just go and tell Kasuga and get your ass out or die. Like, figure something out. Like, you don't have to be doing all of this extra stuff because everybody is miserable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, like, it feels like everybody's miserable, so they're trying to make everyone else also miserable. It's like, well, if I'm miserable, you have to be miserable too.
Right. Misery loves company, they say.
Right, but I mean, those people in particular, they came on purpose because they wanted to be the father of the next shogun and stuff. And so to me, it's just like, okay, you're making everybody miserable, but do you think the person that came against their will is not already miserable? Why are you making it worse?
Right, if you guys had, like, I don't know, like, cultivated, like, any ability to flirt, like, a tiny bit, or be, like, kind to her, even a little, perhaps you already would have done this, and Arikoto could just be, like, being a monk.
Yeah.
Right. I just, like, had this really stupid thought where it's like, what if they had, like conversational, like, classes or, like, flirting classes at the Ooku? Where it's like, here's how to talk to our liege.
They've never had to actually, like, seduce a woman before because, you know, it's the time period where you just, like, get given a wife, usually.
Right. Imagine having to, like, earn someone's affection.
All they had to do, and that's why it's crazy, is just, actively listen to her. Because all you have to do is show, like, oh, I heard what you said, or I care, and then suddenly you're the bee's knees.
So much of this is personal connection. But we also find out, like, how much they, like, don't like her, right? Like, they fundamentally don't like her, which makes it hard to, like, you know, be nice to a person when you're like, I just don't really like you. So they find it, like, impossible to form those connections with her, or even try to. Like, you definitely get the impression that they think they should just be like, let in there for some sex, get it on, and get out. But we will find out later why, like, that's not happening when it comes to Iemitsu.
Yeah. All right. Shall we move into I Scream, You Scream?
Sure.
Okay. I just have one. And it was something that Iemitsu says to Arikoto. She's like, you passed out doing a set of practice swings. How pitiful. I'm like, he had to do 1,000. Like, that's not just a set of practice swings. That's, like, torture.
Right. Because my thing is, like, he didn't say it, but it's like, could you do it?
Right. Yeah.
Who are you calling pitiful? You couldn't even do it. So... please.
Right, even if it was 1,000 practice swings with your little fan.
Yeah.
Chika, do you have any I Scream, You Scream?
Ooh, the servant that called Arikoto a man whore.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, like, fuck you. Like, why would you, like, a man whore? But everybody knows he was taken against his will. Now he's but do you think he was a whore by choice?
Right. Like, he was literally taken here to do one thing.
Yeah, and so, to me, I feel like, as much as, you know, Kasuga is supposed to be this all-knowing power and everything, she's not doing a good job in making sure that the Ooku is actually a good place for Iemitsu. Because why would you have a servant that would think of this entire situation that way? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I remember, even watching it the second time, incensed. Because, like, man, he wanted to be a monk. Like, he wanted to be celibate. Like,
he was never going to use those parts if he had the choice.
Right. Remember a couple episodes ago, and he was like, let's show these ladies a good time. And it was just them having, like, a wholesome evening together.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like that, you know? He's the farthest thing from a man whore.
Like, also, I feel like one of the reasons, too, like, it hits so hard is because Arikoto, again, like, he's, like, occupying that, like, space women so usually do. And it's like, you know, back when it was a shogun in charge, that those people were probably saying the same thing about, like, the women brought there. The, like, I'm brought here against my will to serve somebody else. And it's like, I have, like, very little say in this. And yeah, like, I'm the one getting called a whore.
Right. Rachel, do you have any I Scream, You Scream points left?
No, I don't. Because we've also, like, covered so much of, like, the parts that really frustrate. Like,
Okay.
it bleeds into so many areas, right?
It does.
Like,
There's a lot of overlap with this series, for sure.
Yeah.
Chika, do you have any ice cream you scream left?
Nope, that was my last one.
All right, well, let's get into episode 5. And once again, I just want to issue a quick trigger warning for sexual assault before we get into episode 5. So, here is our soft serve summary, brought to us by Wikipedia. In an act to humiliate Arikoto and the other grooms, Iemitsu orders the men to dress in women's clothing to amuse her. As the men dance awkwardly, she recalls her unhappy life, how she was taken by Lady Kasuga from her mother, who was killed to maintain her silence, forced to become her father's surrogate against her will, treated as a vessel to produce the next shogun, raped in the gardens by an unsuspecting samurai, and giving birth to a daughter who died soon after. When Arikoto enters the room, beautifully dressed in a kimono, she sends everyone away and they embrace each other. A year later, Arikoto and Iemitsu are still happily in love, but Lady Kasuga is angry that Iemitsu is not pregnant. And that is our soft serve summary. So, Rachel, do you have any themes for this episode?
for me, I feel the real theme of this one was compassion. Like, in contrast to this last one, because we get so much of her past in this one. One, like, I think this is where I started to, like, be like, okay, I'm at least starting to understand her.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I like her, but I am starting to understand her and starting to empathize with her
Right.
as well.
Yeah.
But also that it's like Arikoto's compassion sort of like is the key that unlocks like such a change in her and in the Ooku and just the way that she feels even like about herself. I think it's really important. And like the way he like tries to understand her, it goes right to like you know how those shoujo heroines, they're always saving the day with compassion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chico, do you have a theme?
Being delusional has its perks.
Okay. Being Delulu is the Solulu.
Right? Shout out to Arikoto. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember what it was made me put this as the theme, but I put sometimes things don't seem to make sense until the pieces fall into place right before our eyes.
Ooh, that's nice.
Thanks. I think it was had to be something Arikoto said, so we're gonna go with that. I can't really remember at the moment, though. Sprinkles on top. Chika, do you have any?
I actually put the cat, Waka Murasaki, because we find out that briefly Iemitsu, who used to be Chie, was nicknamed that for like 2 seconds before her like nanny and mom were killed. So it makes it feel as if, you know, not only does the cat symbolize like the child in a way that Iemitsu lost, but it also feels as if it symbolizes that loss of innocence that Iemitsu used to have before she was like violently brought into this state of Ooku. Yeah, and then I think the other one I have is Arikoto putting the kimono on Iemitsu because I think he's able to unlock or just tell that the way that she's been acting, even her getting those women's like hair cut and stuff, that it's really just a cry of her wanting to be true to herself and to be the woman that she is and being forced not to. And so him acknowledging that, it like unlocked many things within her. So yeah.
Rachel, do you have any sprinkles on top?
I do, and it kind of goes with Chika's because I connected the hair again through because so she's cutting the hair off those or ordering the hair to be cut off those women, but that same thing happens to her when she's a child.
Yeah,
right. Like someone literally like grabs her and cuts the hair off, like, and it strips her of like her identity that she had when she was a little girl. That it's just like another fundamental part of like taking away all of this innocence, all this like girlhood away from her and forcing her into a role she doesn't want.
Yeah, definitely. My attempt at a sprinkle on top was, I know that they said that the cat's name was from the Tale of Genji.
Yeah.
But I could not bring myself to do the research.
I read it a little bit a long time ago.
Yeah, I was going to ask, but I didn't want to put you on the spot because I know you had mentioned you'd read it before. So I wonder if there was some kind of connection there. But I think connecting it to all the loss that Iemitsu has gone through, especially because she had the nickname for 2 seconds, and then like she had a daughter for a short amount of time that died, and then like she has this cat that has the same nickname that she did, short-lived, cat short-lived, nickname short-lived, daughter. So it's like it kind of just feels like it goes into all that somehow. But yeah, with that said, let's go into Floats Your Boat. Rachel, why don't you kick it off for us?
To start, Arikoto's classic shoujo heroine compassion moment. Like, he would, like, when he's going on about, like, the reason I was born, actually, is to, like, shower this one person with love and compassion so that, like, they can heal and, like, no, like, above and beyond shoujo moment for him, like, really tuning in, like, he would not be out of place with, like, Usagi. Like, up there in, like, terms of, like, compassionate shoujo characters.
Yeah, I did have that as well.
Oh, I had that in Banana Split, to be honest.
Yeah, I think I just, like, really so desperately wanted to put something in, like, Floats Your Boat and, like, have a, like, so, I mean, I have other stuff in Floats Your Boat, but, like, I don't know. If he's happy, it's like, if he's happy, then I'm happy for him, like I'm that friend in his corner, I guess. I also love that in that scene, he gives her the kimono and it validates her femininity. Mm-hmm. They were bonding with the cat and all and growing closer. So, I mean, I figured a romance was bound to happen. I didn't expect it to be so, like, passionate at the top. But, I'm happy for him.
I also popped in that he is like she's laughing at all of those other guys when they're dressed up as women, and it's because, like, they aren't pretty women.
Yeah.
But when Arikoto comes in, like, he's, like, too gorgeous dressed up as a woman, so it's, like, not funny when he does it. So I popped that one in Floats My Boat because I do appreciate a really pretty guy. And on top of that, we got that moment, but then also, like, the archery scene where he's got, like, half the kimono off.
Yes, the archery scene. I had that. I was like, ooh, a little chest.
Yeah.
A little treat for the audience. He looks hot.
A little fan service.
He looks hot as a woman. He looks hot as a guy. Like,
yes. Yeah. The bi girl's dream.
Right. I was going to say, I was like, oh, it's a Chika field day. Like, yes.
Right.
Bi privilege is when Arikoto dresses up as a woman, but also is really hot as a man.
Yes.
Chika, what's one of your Floats Your Boat?
I have 2 more left.
Okay.
Arikoto and Gyokuei increase in status after Iemitsu falls for Arikoto. I think it was just nice to see them being respected by people.
Yeah.
Because I feel like in general they deserve that respect to begin with, but now it's like they all respect them, and so the things that they went through before, they can't go through it now.
Yeah. I do agree. I hadn't really, like, thought about it, but it's nice to see them being treated the way they should be, as opposed to the way they were.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's nice to know, like, they're a lot safer than they used to be.
Yeah. Rachel, do you have any Floats Your Boat left?
No, those were my only ones.
Okay. I just have, like, 2-ish more. So one was, like, earlier in the episode before we have that, like, loving embrace when Kasuga asks Iemitsu, like, should I dispose of Arikoto? And she's like, no. Like, she has a soft spot for him. So I thought that was kind of funny and cute. And then later in the episode, after the time skip, when he, like, arrives back, she just absolutely lights up at the sound of his voice. And then they're like, snuggling and they're professing their love. I can't remember the specifics. I know there were some issues with the animation. Don't want to think about it right now, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, just like their bond was very sweet. In particular, the way she lit up at the sound of his voice when he returned back was like really sweet to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am like happy that he, like, you're right. Like, I'm like the friend in his corner. I'm like, okay, I mean, I guess if you're happy. What choice does he really have? It's kind of like the
right.
a little bit of Stockholm syndrome,
right?
Going on there.
Yeah,
yeah.
If it helps him cope, it helps him cope.
Right.
Yeah, that's where the Delulu is coming in.
Right. I mean, Belle is my favorite Disney princess, so I don't know.
Right. I wanted her to be with the Beast for real, though.
Right.
I mean, I know she gets with the Beast. What I'm saying, I prefer his Beast form.
I think we all do. I don't know. I've never met someone who's like Beast hotter as the prince.
Yeah.
Let's get into Banana Split. Chika, would you like to kick it off?
Yeah. Oh, I had one last floater boat, actually, is just Iemitsu dressing as a woman again.
Oh, yes. Embracing that femininity. I did love that.
Yes.
Yeah. And then she's like finding a way to do it despite the fact that like Kasuga's like
testy about it.
They have that little conversation. Yeah, that like she's like, well, she's like, I'm just gonna do it anyways. What you gonna do about it?
Right. But for Banana Split, because we had talked about it and I had mentioned it, the reason why I couldn't really buy into their love is like once he starts dedicating himself to Iemitsu, he decided to mentally change his devotion to Buddha to Iemitsu in order to cope, just like how we were talking about Stockholm Syndrome and stuff. And so to see him do that, it made it easier for me to understand how people get into cults, because essentially they're just trying to find something they believe in and to hope against hope that everything that's happening within this cult or whatever is being said is going to come true. And so I think that's why for me, like, I mean, if he says he's happy or he decided that he's happy, like, okay, that's fine, like, be delusional. But then that's why I have it in Banana Split.
I get it. Like, if he could choose this, he wouldn't be here. Like, this is not his choice.
Yeah. I think he's just coping.
Mm-hmm.
Beauty and the Beast, or like, for Game of Thrones people, Daenerys, right?
Oh,
like,
yes.
Right.
And Khal Drogo, yeah. She's like, I love that man. Do you remember the beginning? Because I remember the beginning.
She's trying not to.
Yeah.
Rachel, do you have any Banana Split? I forgot to say I don't have any Banana Split, actually, so y'all are having the floor here.
So one of my Banana Splits is that, like, Arikoto's compassion, which I love so much, is tempered a little bit by selfishness. Because, like, he reveals this episode that he knows Gyokuei killed Murasaki and actively chose his life over Shiga Sato, right?
Yeah.
And, like, that's, like, very it feels, like, very un-Arikoto-like. But at the same time, like, I get it. Like, what does he have from his old life besides, like, I would choose Gyokuei. Like, after the Murasaki thing, like, over Shigetsu. I get it, but like also like he's not perfect, right? Like we got that in there. Like he's got a little bit of selfishness in there too.
Yeah, and I had that in Banana Split too. And to be honest, I thought because Gyokuei starts crying, and I was just like, are you crying because you're sad that you did it? Or are you crying because you got caught? Like, why are you crying? But then at the same time, I'm just waiting for him. Like, oh, now's the time he's going to say why he did it. Because it's not like he was unmotivated. Like, it was heinous, but there was a reason why he did it. And he still didn't tell him. And I'm just like, come on. At least if you told him that, he might still feel a way about Gyokuei killing Murasaki, but then he'd be like, I understand. But in this, it's like he doesn't have that added information and he's still being like, I understand. It's like, no, you can't understand. Like, because y'all were both going to be monks. Come on.
Right.
Ask the question. Why did you do that?
I feel like he didn't want to know. Like, I feel like he might have maybe suspected something had happened. And he just...
Oh, yeah, because he was looking for him. I forgot.
He was looking for him. He comes back, like, really disheveled, like, with his clothes torn. I think he maybe didn't want to know. Like, he didn't want to hear it. Well, might not have wanted to hear, like, the answer to, like, why did you do that?
Yeah.
Right. I'm so sorry to Arikoto, but I cannot relate. I would have needed an answer. Like, I mean, not that I would...
Yeah.
I'm trying, y'all. Like, Gyokuei is... the only thing that Arikoto has from his life before the Ooku, and his closest friend, and somebody he was already close to outside of the Ooku as well. So, like, I understand he wouldn't want to see him hurt, but, I mean, I gotta tell you, I probably wouldn't be your friend after that. Maybe I wouldn't let you get killed, but I don't know if I'd be your friend after that.
Right.
No matter what the reason is, like, I again, like, it would have helped if he was able to explain it. But, like, the fact that he didn't explain it, like, I don't think I would be able to go on without that closure.
I mean, you could also say that the reason why Arikoto is in the Ooku is because of Gyokuei in the first place. Because he didn't want him to be killed.
Oh, my fucking God, right? Oh, I'm so mad. I'm so sorry. I'm so mad.
It's okay.
Rachel's, like, seeing me in, like, the worst form tonight. I'm so sorry.
It's enraging, though. So it's...
Yeah.
I get it.
It's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Do we have any more banana split?
I am kind of confused as to why Iemitsu has not killed Kasuga yet. Because I would have killed her. Like, oh, I have this power.
Right?
I have this power. You killed my mom. You cut my hair. Like, just like how, the Secret Swain thing, which we'll get into more in, like, Rocky Road. I have it in Rocky Road, but it could double for Hot Fudge of, like, the first person that got with Iemitsu in the first place and how they were killed and stuff like that. And they say, oh, because this person harmed the liege is why they were killed, which true, but there's more to it. But, like, her cutting her hair like that and, like, traumatizing her, I feel like that should count.
I feel that way consistently, like, throughout the series. Like, as soon as it, like, I was like, I hate that old hag, to be entirely honest.
Yeah.
And I would also have had her killed.
I mean,
Yeah.
Iemitsu seems so comfortable just slashing whoever she wants, so why not Kasuga?
I wonder if it's because, like, she has, quite frankly, more power than, like, Iemitsu does within the Ooku.
If Kasuga was killed, then wouldn't Iemitsu have all the power, or is there other people?
I don't think her son would allow it.
Okay, yeah.
The one that's, like, acting as the body double.
Yeah.
I think he would raise hell. Like, he's kind of had, his life is very weird, too. But I guess that's the only thing he's dedicated toward is his mother. So I think he'd, like, get that shit. I don't know, maybe he would kill her and just be like, I am Iemitsu now. Even though he's not. And just...
Be a lot of killing going on.
Right, yeah.
Like, Iemitsu has power, but doesn't. Right? Like, Kasuga can tell her how to dress, where to go, who to sleep with. But, like, she's the real power in the Ooku. But, again, like, it might have, like you said, like, have led to, like, Iemitsu's murder or war, or who knows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let us move on into Rocky Road. I mean... The first thing I have is just Iemitsu's abduction as a child, like not knowing who her real dad was and what happens to her mother and Toyo right in front of her. That was just really, really heartbreaking to watch.
Yeah. I think all of her loss I put in Rocky Road.
Yes.
Just the nanny and mother's murder, her being traumatized, being raped. Being forced to give birth when she didn't want to. Because, like, that's a mind fuck as well.
Right. I mean, she kept just, like, in panic and fear saying, I don't want to give birth. And oh my God, like, we're all people with uteruses here, like that is terrifying to think, being forced to do that if you don't want to.
Right.
Forced to do it for a child conceived in rape, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And then she's happy with her. Like, she mentally overcomes that to just be like, this is my child, and then the child dies.
Oh my God, yeah.
Ooh.
It's really, really rough.
Yeah, I also have Iemitsu's, like, whole past.
Yeah, that's essentially all of my rocky road.
Again, like, this is, like, really where I start feeling empathy for her, because she was, like, such a cute little girl. Like, she was such a cute, sweet little girl.
Yeah.
And then, like, having to, like, see the people killed right in front of her. And, like, Kasuga also, like, making it, like, super clear right from the beginning that, like, her only value to Kasuga is how much she, like, looks like her father. Mm-hmm. Where she's like, oh, you look so much like your dad. Like, very clearly, like, very quickly, like, this person does not love her for who she is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's just, like, loses everything. And then, like, the sexual assault on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then to have, like, to have to give birth. And then, like, on top of that, like, this ritual, or, like, the secret swain thing starts from her sexual assault. Which is, like, that didn't have to happen to all those other men who came after then.
Yeah.
And if I'm honest, when they first described what the secret swain thing was, a little bell did go off in my head that, like, maybe there's more to that than just...
that meets the eye.
Yeah, like, maybe this person hurt her and, like, not everybody had the full story, and then that ended up being exactly what happened.
I hate that it became a tradition, because it's like...
Right?
That was out of rape. That wasn't, like... It's different when you're in a consenting situation, and then you're just like, oh, well, you have to die. For what?
Yeah. Yeah.
I wish that had translated... rather than it being, oh, this person, the secret swain, has to die, then it's just like, no, the secret swain must have consent. If there's consent, he won't die. Which, I mean, thankfully he doesn't, but in the first episode, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also, it's like another sexual assault that, like, she doesn't tell.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't tell Kasuga what happens. She doesn't go, this man raped me. She just says, he hurt me. And for that, he has to die.
Right, but no, I think she could tell that what happened because she was bleeding down her legs.
Didn't they used to believe when you were a virgin that you would, like, so maybe... Also, again, maybe she, like, didn't care enough about, like,
True.
How, what happened.
Right, she didn't care about how and stuff. I think, yeah, they do say that, like, oh, you pop the cherry, you bleed a little bit, but you don't bleed like that, so it's kind of like, is it a mix of his blood from her stabbing the shit out of him? Is it because he was going fucking crazy and she was screaming and it was, like, trauma and that's why? Like, yeah.
You know what I don't get? Is that, like, if, like, again, like, how violent that was. And she was indeed screaming, like, how come no one did come?
Well, didn't he tell her not to scream? Because if she did, then all the men that could hear her would come to take her next.
He did.
But she screamed anyway, though.
Oh, I thought she stopped screaming after a point.
She might have, like, I mean, during the act, but at least when he gets started, she does scream.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't mind that he died either.
I don't either. I would kill him again. Nope. Like,
right.
Yeah. That one with the first one with the Shogun did indeed get what was coming to him.
True. Mm-hmm. I mean, the way that I would be like, oh, like, do a stab somewhere, like, oh, you can't move. Like, this is, I know it's gonna sound psychotic, y'all, but I'm just saying, like, oh, you raping me? This is torture now. Like, the way that she said that anytime she gets mad, she just thinks about cutting people down. I would cut him down, but not cut him down so he's dead. I would just cut little parts of him to make myself feel better. And tell people, oh, fix him up enough so he's still living, you know? And just keep doing that until he dies for real. Like, that's the type of shit that I'm on.
Oh my god. We're so violent this week.
Sorry, y'all. Like,
No, I said weird. I'm in on this.
You know what?
Thing.
No, I'm like, yeah, that's he deserves it. Like, he got off easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are we good to move into Hot Fudge?
Sure.
The only thing I have is stuff we like already talked about, so we don't really have to elaborate on it. I just have that Kasuga treats Iemitsu like a womb, and I hate that. She's like, it's been a year since she summoned him into her bedchamber, and she still isn't with child. So, you know, just Kasuga being Kasuga.
Yeah.
I also have Kasuga in Hot Fudge. I, in fact, wrote Kasuga, and then in all caps, that old hag.
Yeah, yes. I hate her.
Yes.
Like,
precisely.
yeah.
Chika, what do you have?
I have one, and it's just Arikoto feeling guilty about telling Iemitsu the truth.
Oh.
Yeah, so, like, back when he said, like, if you think you're the only one who suffers, you could not be more wrong. And then, like, once he starts going, oh, Delulu, I'm in love with her, he's just like, I shouldn't have told such a delicate person. I'm just like, no, you were right. You were right. I'm not saying we have more context of what happened to her and it's terrible, but you were still right. She's not the only one that's suffering.
Yeah.
So it irritated me that I know he was trying to cope, but I think in trying to cope, he's invalidating his feelings in order to move forward with what his life is going to be.
Yeah. And also, like, as a fellow sensitive person, sometimes when you, like, stand up for yourself or you say something, like, firmly that doesn't feel, like, agreeable, you feel like you hurt everybody in the room or, like, you made a grave error, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, no, I feel like that as well. I think when I'll stand up for myself and then immediately afterward, it's like I can't just trust my own judgment. It's like I know what I'm feeling is right. I know what I said was right. But then I'm just like, could I have gone about it a different way? I'll see if, depending on what it is, I might go to somebody and just be like, hey, here's the situation. Do you agree with what I did?
Yeah.
No, and she needed to hear it. I do think that, like, that snap moment of his, like, also helps clue her in, because she starts to change, too, a year later, right? Like, a little bit, and then, like, she, like, where she talks about how, like, she knows that he would prefer her to be, like, kinder. Mm-hmm. Or she, like, talks about, like, the hair she wears, she, like, actually paid for this time, instead of, like, having girls mugged on the street. So, like, I do think that, like, him snapping at her is, like, also what leads her to, like, at least, like, attempt some tiny changes in her behavior.
Mm-hmm.
I think it helped.
Yeah.
She needed to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, let us go into I Scream, You Scream. Chika, do you have any?
2. One is from what Arikoto said. He said that Gyokuei is a kind soul after they talked about Murasaki being killed. And I was just like, how does he have a kind soul if he killed Murasaki?
Mm-hmm.
Come on. Like, so I had that. And then I also had that I can sympathize with Iemitsu, but I don't think I could ever like her. That level of Delulu that Arikoto is in, you're trying to get through your situation, so I understand, but I could never like her.
I'm the same way. Like, I think I empathize with her, right? Like, I empathize with her. And I don't want more bad things to happen to her. Like, I do wish she could have a life of more agency, but I don't think that, like, what has happened to her, like, justifies her treatment of people. Like...
Yeah,
I agree.
Right, like, again, like, you're not the only one who has suffered. And even still, like, your suffering doesn't entitle you to create more suffering.
Mm-hmm.
But I do empathize with her, I suppose I should say. That, like, I do, feel bad for her. But I agree, like, being like, yeah, this is, like, going on my, like, favorite character list. Not happening.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's like, it's nice that they seem to be happy, but I don't feel invested.
Yeah, same.
I feel invested because of Arikoto, and, like, that's it. Like, I just, like, I want him to be happy.
Yeah,
I like him.
Right. Like, I want him to be happy, but, like, I can't, like, get behind the romance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does.
Okay. I think at one point in the episode, Iemitsu says, I can't find the right way to act for you to like me. And, like, not to pull the curtain too much, but like me and Chika were recording our Shonen Sunday earlier today, and it's just like reminding me of all the stuff we were talking about Horimiya. But like, he should like you for you. You can't be acting away to be liked, because that's not genuine. I feel like we say that a lot on this podcast.
Right. But I feel like in her case, different from Hori is that Hori at least has some likable traits. Like Iemitsu.
Ouch.
Oh, sorry. Like, but Iemitsu, she has to do what's like, oh, what do you like? Because she has been mean for so long.
Yeah.
Her being able to be soft, like, she's learning that. So, like, I sort of get it. But yeah, like, still sort of be genuine, but to a point.
I also feel like if she's still in that teenage girl range, which, like, I don't know that she is, because I don't know how old she is.
Yeah.
But, like, it's also, I think, relatable for, like, when you're, like, a younger girl. Like,
right.
Your older teens, your young 20s, when you're like, I will change my entire personality for this, like, guy to like me, is... I also feel like a little relatable in like a way I don't like. I'm glad I don't do that anymore. It's miserable trying to like change yourself so somebody else likes you. Mm-hmm. Although she could stand to be better.
Right, like she has growing to do and that would be better.
But also just doing it to get Arikoto to like her is like not a great reason.
Exactly. Should come from within.
Mm-hmm.
I do think it sucks that Arikoto is brought to the Ooku. He falls in love, and, like, they can't have a kid, so Kasuga is like, well, that's it for them then. Like, he can't have a single nice thing.
Ever.
Like, he can't have anything.
Right, like, his life was destroyed, and for what?
Right, like, his life was destroyed. He got a little delusional to cope, and now it's just going to be ripped away from him again.
Right. He can't even have, like, security in his delusions.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so moving into episode 6, here is our self-serve summary brought to us by Wikipedia. While dreaming, Lady Kasuga recalls entering the service of the shogun along with her son, who is now known as Inaba Masakatsu. In an effort to produce a Tokugawa offspring to maintain peace in the country, Lady Kasuga selects a young man in town named Sutezo who resembles Arikoto to become the new groom of the bedchamber. She forces Arikoto into convincing Iemitsu to accept him. Although Iemitsu believes that she is barren following the difficult birth of her first child, she and Arikoto realize that she must accept the situation for them both to stay alive. And that is our soft-serve summary. Rachel, do you have a theme for this episode? So sorry, my notes for this episode suck. I do not have a theme, but I'm doing my best.
I guess if I were to like sort of sum it up, it would be like generational shift.
Okay,
so like in the fact that like the world is really changing around them, and you only see like the older people who are like doing what older people always do, where they're like, oh, it was so much better back in my day when men were men and women were women, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And like there's this big shift that is occurring because like there are like men are still dying out, and so you're seeing like these like gender roles sort of start to change.
Yeah.
But like generationally they still don't have like you're still finding that like tension. You see it with Sutezo but also Kasuga, who, like, is, like, so desperate to, like, hold on to, like, a patriarchy that, like, she's, like, so consistently, like, reenacting it because she wants Iemitsu to have a boy child, right? Like, she doesn't really want her to have a girl child, despite the fact that, like, girl children are the ones guaranteed to live to adult or more guaranteed to live to adulthood. So, for me, like, that was sort of, like, these, like... generational shifts in power or like shifts in gender is really interesting.
Yeah. Kasuga's like a pick-me. Like a very, like the most dedicated pick-me, but not for her to be picked, but like the ones that are just like, men are not wrong. They are the best. We should listen to them. Like that type of shit.
Yeah. I'm a guy's girl.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Chika, do you have a theme?
I had one is like more of a joke, like Irreplaceable by Beyonce plays in the background.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. And then I had Kasuga will do whatever it takes to win.
Yes, that really sums it up for sure. Rachel, do you have any sprinkles on top?
I don't for this one.
Me neither.
Me neither.
Okay, we're all chilling. It's all low key on episode 6 here. Getting into Floats Your Boat. I'm so sorry I only have one Floats Your Boat, and it's that Kasuga seems to be in poor health. That is truly my only Floats Your Boat for this episode. I'm sure there's more if you guys point stuff out, but that was the one thing that brought me true joy.
Yeah. Just like, get the F out of here.
Right. Like, she might be dead soon.
Yeah.
That's terrible. But, Chika, do you have any Floats Your Boat?
I just have two. One is Sutezo says he'll use his ween money to buy his parents a castle. And I was just like, that's dedication, okay? That's familial love. Like a castle?
Right.
Yeah. The other one is Arikoto defending Iemitsu to Kasuga after finding out about him being replaced. Because he's actually the only person, I guess, that genuinely thinks about Imitsu's mental health and everything she's been through and stuff, so.
Right, like actually cares about her as a person.
Yeah.
Yeah, because nobody else does.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Rachel, do you have any Floats Your Boat?
I do. One is I like the game where they're playing with the shells, and she's like, I told you to call me by my name when we're alone, and he's like, we're not alone, and then like it pulls out to Gyokuei there.
Yeah, I did. I liked that moment too.
And then also I like that in the previous episode we saw her talk about wanting to close like the country completely off, and the one guy like repeats it as his idea in that meeting, which is kind of like, but that it's like taken up, like it really shows her like political prowess. So that I did like. She's clever. Like she knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do agree. Do we have any more Floats Your Boat, or are we moving straight into Banana Split?
I think we're moving. Like this is like, I think not
it's like a speed round.
Yeah.
Yeah. There wasn't a lot about this episode I super enjoyed because we start to really get into like Kasuga.
Yes. So going into Banana Split, which I'm sorry I do not have anything for. Chika, do you have any Banana Split?
The lady who was selling her fish with her titty out.
Okay, no, I had that. I had that in nuts. I put free nip, self-fresh fish.
Right, let free the nipple before free the nipple happened. But I was just like, okay, I get that things have changed, but I don't know if I would want to just feel a breeze when I'm selling fish. I don't know if I'd want to feel that. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, I had that in nuts because I was just like, what the fuck's happening right now? Like, what is this show?
Yeah.
Rachel, do you have any Banana Split?
I have several, actually.
Same. Yeah.
All right. I've got the one that, like, men are suddenly valued for, like, their looks and ability to have kids. It's like, when he's talking about, like, oh, just, like, go home with and like sit there and be like, boys should just be sitting home and being pretty and being protected. That was one of them because I was like, be serious here. Like,
yeah,
you can bring a little more value to the table than just your looks. Arikoto does.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Kasuga and Arikoto are having their argument, and he's like, what about the Tokugawa shogunate makes you protect it like this? And she's like, it means peace. But to be honest, I'm like, would there be a war over the shogunate? Because, like, who's around to fight that? Like,
Right.
Who's around to fight that war? There's only, like, 25% of the male population left. Like, there's not a lot of them to, like, mount an attack.
Yeah. And I feel like since they've been in the Ooku for so long, maybe the worldview that he has gotten smaller. Because I think if he was being rational, he would think so many men are dying who is fighting this war? Even if we're on the inside here, what war do you think is going to actually come about? And honestly, I'm surprised that, because she's so dedicated to this, like, line, I'm surprised she just didn't instate her son instead of even bringing Iemitsu or Chie into it, however you want to refer to them. But, like, make your son, like, the king, and then it's really your line that's continuing on as X, Y, and Z. So it's just interesting.
When your mom doesn't even love you enough to try and, like, do a little usurping of a throne for you.
Right. The very least she could do.
Right. And one of the banana split that I have is because they just start showing Kasuga's background, which the nuts point that I would have for this is the random crucifixion. I'm like,
yeah. I like put that in Rocky Road out of obligation, but I feel nothing for Kasuga, sorry.
Right. No, that was crazy. I was just like, somebody on the cross, it's not Jesus? What? What is T? But no, not for real. But I think they started showing her background and everything, and I was just like, okay, you can show me her little background, but I still don't like the bitch. Like, I like her even less than I like Iemitsu.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
She had marks on her face. Okay. Oh, her husband's concubine, like, that was fucked up that the concubine was putting hands on her son. So, like, I low-key get it. But, like, yeah, that's kind of fucked up, but okay.
If we had a scale of redeemability with, like, the bottom being the least redeemable and the top being more-ish redeemable, it would be the bottom for me is Kasuga, in the middle is Ko from Blue Spring Ride, and then we have Iemitsu at the top.
Yeah, and she's the worst. Like, she's the worst. And yeah, like, it was messed up that they were putting hands on her kid, and I would also have killed that woman if she had, like, been smacking my. I'd be like, I don't care who you are, but I wouldn't have been divorced after. I'd be like, she's dead because she put hands on your kid, and, like, that's people can learn about that, and you know, maybe the next one won't. How about that?
Yeah.
I also had in, like, I am confused as to, like, why does she have to call things off with Arikoto? Like, even if she has to sleep with the new one, like, why can't they still have, like, a little thing going on?
Right. Don't, like, the men get to have, like, concubines or whatever, so, like, why can't she?
Right?
I think she's so used to taking things away from Iemitsu that she just think that's just her modus operandi. Like, oh, like, well, I had to cut off her hair, I had to kill her mom, I had to do this, I had to do that. Okay, she fell for this man, I gotta take him away too. Like, yeah, I think that's just how she's going about this, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's dumb because, you know, something that I did think about, I guess you could be banana split, is why didn't Iemitsu go with him? Like, she summoned Arikoto during their little lovey-dovey time. So why didn't Iemitsu follow just to be like, why do you need him? He's with me. I'm more important.
Right. Yeah, she could have gone with him. I wonder how the conversation would have went differently if she was there, too.
That's like you said, Chika, it's all stick, no carrot for poor Iemitsu.
Yeah.
And also that she's like, well, the nice thing I do for you is I found you someone who looks just like him. And it's like, you fundamentally, like, do not understand why she wants to be with him. Because, like, it's not looks for her. Like, I will give her that point. Like, it's not just Arikoto's looks. Like, she likes him. She does like him for who he is. Like, this new guy isn't going to replace him.
Yeah. Just because he kind of looks like him doesn't mean she's going to be like, oh, okay, the new model. Like,
right. And it is only kind of. He is not as pretty.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Do we have more banana split?
No, that's my last one, is that I think that he should just get to be like her little, who cares? Like, so long as, like, she occasionally sleeps with someone else and, like, has a baby every once in a while. Like, who cares?
I'm surprised she hasn't. Oh, that's, I guess, the last thing. I'm surprised Kasuga didn't just kidnap a baby.
Right. Like, if anything, she wants to go about this the real way. Like,
yeah, just kidnap the baby. Like, I mean, that's really fucked up. But, you know, Kasuga is known to doing fucked up shit.
Right.
So my thing is, like, there's no baby coming. You're clearly getting old and sick. Just get a baby on demand, you know? I don't know how that would work. Obviously, it'd be probably a very sad time, but the baby wouldn't know any better.
Right. I think that's why Arikoto's like, what is your problem? Like, there are other people who can run the country. And she's like, no, there's not. But like, and like, I think, right, like, why don't you just adopt someone? Why don't you just plan a line of succession? Proves that, like, for her, it really is about, like, bloodline. Like, she's, like, so dedicated.
Yeah.
To, like, the Tokugawa bloodline, like, to a weird amount. Like, this isn't, like, dog breeding, okay? Like, you don't need your pedigree puppies here.
Yeah. Okay, so coming out of Banana Split, any rocky roads, Chika? Any rocky road? Rachel?
I do. The scene where Arikoto goes to call things off with Iemitsu.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The voice acting, especially in I watched the Japanese.
So did I.
Mamoru's voice acting is so incredible all the time. But like, he does such a good job with that scene. It is like really heartbreaking to watch.
I agree. You could definitely hear the pain in his voice and how much he didn't want to be doing what he was doing.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I said, my notes are so sparse for this episode. So I was like, I felt like I had to put, it is a sad fact that Kasuga saw her dad get crucified, but I don't feel any sympathy for her because she fucking sucks. So
yeah,
that's like an obligatory rocky road, I guess.
To be honest, I don't think she cared that much that her dad died, other than like her family was like put out on the street and like had to go on the run.
Yeah, honestly, right. God. I guess coming out of that, if we have any nuts points, I said mine already. Chika, do you have any?
No.
Rachel, do you have any?
Bringing that new guy in, like, that one surprised me.
True.
Like, but they were like, oh my god, there's a guy who vaguely looks like Arikoto. But they didn't kidnap him.
Right.
She gave him the choice. That also shocked me, although she probably would have kidnapped him if he said no.
Right. She probably gave him the illusion of choice.
Yeah.
She was like, do you want to come to the Ooku, yes or yes?
Right, the little checkbox.
But it did surprise me that, like, she's like, just spots this guy down the road. Like, no background check on him. He could, like, we don't know what he's like. Just brings him in.
Right.
It's like swiping on Tinder. Like, you don't know anything. It's just looks.
You truly don't. Yeah.
And that's it.
That's scary, man.
It is.
Are we good to move into Hot Fudge?
I am.
All right. Rachel, why don't you kick off Hot Fudge for us?
I said this a little earlier, but I'm going to repeat it now, is that, like, Kasuga fundamentally does not understand why Iemitsu loves Arikoto. Like, she cannot comprehend, like, valuing someone and wanting them in their life, not because they, like, are doing something for you, but, like, because of, like, your life is, like, enriched by their presence. And I think it goes to this fact that, like, neither of them are people to her. Like, they just are not people to her. They are a womb, and then, like, Arikoto is, like, sperm. Like, that is it. That is all that matters to her as far as she is concerned. She's so callous with them. After wrecking that man's life and bringing him here, just to be like, oh, well, sorry, that didn't work out.
Yeah.
But, and then, like, thinking that she can just replace him.
I have that too.
With, a double. But, like, excuse you?
Yeah. I mean, I do feel like we've talked about it a bit, but that is one of my hot fudges, just the fact that she tried to replace Arikoto with the Arikoto we have at home, essentially. Like,
right. Oh my god,
exactly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh, we have Taco Bell at home. Oh.
Yeah. But I feel like we've touched on that a lot, so I don't need to, like, super evaluate. Chika, do you have hot fudge?
Iemitsu beating up Arikoto, knowing that Kasuga said something to him, is why I can't like her. You're beating on the wrong person. That is what I had. And this is also just goes back to why I can't fully like her, because she just has this tendency to be violent. And it's like, think about it. He was saying, oh, I love you, this and that. You're perfect, this and that. Now he's saying, girl, we gotta break up. where did he just come from?
Exactly. Yeah. I have this too. I put Chie, I started calling her Chie after the flashback stuff, so I put my heart broke for Chie until she started punching Arikoto.
Yeah.
Right, going right back to her old habits.
Yep, I flashed right back to the fan thing.
She knows, too, because she tells him, like, oh, do you value your life so much? She's like, oh, so you don't want to die? So you won't disobey Kasuga? Like, girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, especially because it's not even his life he did it for. She threatens
her.
Right?
Like,
yeah.
And you're hitting me? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Rachel, do you have any hot fudge left?
I don't.
Chika, do you?
Nope.
Okay, well, let us get into Ice Cream, You Scream. I realize my Ice Cream, You Scream actually probably should have been in Banana Split because it's something that I misinterpreted or did not understand. Because I was confused at the end of the episode because it sounded like they were making a suicide pact, but the summary's like, they must accept the situation so that they can both stay alive. So at first I was like, are they about to die together? But no, they're not. That's them vowing to survive with each other. But either way, it's a lot, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it was a suicide pact. I just think that it's like a suicide pact postponed for a year. Because she thinks she won't be able to get pregnant even with the new guy. And then like once that happens, she'll probably be like executed by Kasuga, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's like after that happens, after that you have to kill yourself.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so I possibly did interpret that correctly, and the summary might be wrong.
Right. No, I think that they were basically vowing to die. Because, I mean, to be honest, Kasuga saying, oh, like, you can be relieved of your duties just means that she's going to kill him. So it's kind of like you went from you have to stay here or you're going to die to you need to step down and you're going to die. So rather than dying by what Kasuga was going to have planned out, it's like, at least I'll die in a way that it's somehow a choice with Iemitsu Chie.
Like, what does he even have anymore? Like, just, like,
right.
What does he even have? And he doesn't even have his delusions anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, Rachel, do you have any Ice Cream, You Scream?
Him being told he can't have, like, the one thing that, like, brings him happiness and comfort.
Yes.
Like I said, he just gets nothing. He claims a little bit for himself, and then it gets taken away. It's frustrating. Like, I get so frustrated on his behalf because I know he's not going to get frustrated on his own behalf.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, what is he supposed to do? And also, again, like, this goes back to my, like, point about, like, I don't understand why they can't just be together anyways. Like, I fully do not understand why, like, you have to then also, like, not be together. Like,
right. It's like Kasuga just wants to cause upset because she can.
Yeah.
Right, like proving who's in charge.
Yep. It's almost like she likes Iemitsu not being happy and Arikoto not being happy. It's like she gets joy off of that.
Yeah. She's a sick fuck.
Yes, and I'm so glad she's in bad health.
Yeah, just rot, bitch.
Yeah.
Oh, God. My first watch, I remember spending this entire time, I was like, come on, heart attack. It's gotta be coming.
Any minute now.
She's so old. Someone just work her up, I bet.
Yeah.
Right.
Tell her women are starting to own land. Like, they think that'll take her just right over the edge.
Honestly, just, like, sneak up behind her, like, quietly and drop something. It might cause her heart rate to spike too much.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, it's obviously Iemitsu's not gonna stab her, even though she deserves it.
Right.
So I was like, I guess nature is just gonna have to take its course.
Right.
Yeah.
Mother Nature, come on in, girl. The water's warm. We got a spot for you.
The last thing I have is the animation was fucking crazy in this episode. Okay,
yes.
They start kissing, right? And it just looks like automatons. Is that the right word? Or like robots. Like,
yeah.
They're just kissing and it's like up and down.
It's like Chika, it's like sock puppets.
Yes. And it's like the lips are like just the same, but it's like kiss, but then it kept going, and I was just like, you can stop.
Right. Right, it's giving kiss kiss without the fall in love.
Kiss, kiss, fall in trauma. Like, yeah.
Yes. Oh my god.
Right. And like, it's so sad because, right, like Mamoru Mayano is like eating that scene up as a voice actor, right? They're both eating that scene up as voice actors, and the animation is so bad. It's like you could have put like a little more budget into this episode to get like a little bit of better. Like, if you needed to like GoFundMe it, I would have like gladly donated some money so that we could get like some smoother animation during this scene that's like supposed to be like one of like the emotional climaxes of the series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like jarring.
They're just like, we're in love. I was just like, stop, touch it. Like, at that point, because the animation looks so bad, I was like, Kasuga, just come in here. Because
somebody stop this.
I just need this to stop.
Yeah. But I think with that is episode 57 of Shoujo Sundae. I just want to say one more time, thank you so much, Rachel, for joining us. This has been so fun getting to chat with you.
Yeah.
I have had so much fun chatting with you about this. I was so glad I could come on.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that for me, aside from the fact that I love that you're talking, like, you're reading Basara, you're doing like oh my god. Besides that, and just like the different reading choices that you make when you talk about shoujo and josei, like I'm 10 times just like, I fully agree with what Rachel's talking about. Something else that is of note is just the fact that I personally have been able to learn a lot from your perspective on what's been happening in Gaza and what's going on with Palestine. And I feel that if there are people that are listening that, I don't know, if you need a personal opinion or touch or to see what it's like from somebody who is Palestinian, like definitely make sure to follow Rachel. I mean, I don't know why you would need more added sense of humanity. I think enough of the stories that have been coming out shows just not only how resilient these people are, but also just how much support that they need at the same time. And I know by the time that this comes out, we aren't going to be sure of like the state of things. But I just wanted to note that.
Well, thank you. Yeah. My grandfather was, and I've talked about this a little on Twitter, that my grandfather was expelled when he was a young boy in 1948 during the original Nakba, that they were actually removed from their homes by a family that they had helped like give money to and try to help settle in the area when they had come as refugees. Because so many people thought that these refugees were coming over to be neighbors, but that wasn't the case. And so Palestine has been close to my heart since, you know, I was a kid. Because that's just how it is when you grow up Palestinian American, that it just, it breaks my heart. But also, I always say that, like, I have never thought that I would see broad public support for Palestine the way I have over these past few months. Like, in my entire life, I used to really be met with, like, a lot of blank stares when I would talk about it. Or people telling me, like, haven't they just been fighting since biblical times? Which isn't true.
Yeah.
And so I always say that, although, again, like, I know the people in Gaza, as much as they appreciate all of the support, I know that, like, what they would love is immediate relief from what is happening to them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I am absolutely happy to be a resource on that at all times. And I always have been.
Yeah.
Yes. And if people want to follow you, to like follow what you do and perhaps learn more from you, where can everybody find you?
You can find me, and Twitter is like the best place to find me. And I use the handle Shoujo Scholar, and that is Shoujo with the OU, not just the O. That's the best place to go ahead and find me. I am tweeting and retweeting a lot about Palestine these days. I think as a lot of us are.
Yeah.
But I do occasionally get in there and I do my shoujo perspectives. I am currently reading Seven Seeds, which is written by the same author as Basara.
Woot woot.
And so I am like doing my little commentaries on that as well. You can always catch me talking about those two things usually. Sometimes I also talk about libraries.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, awesome, guys. Definitely go follow Rachel. Give her all of your shoujo love. Before we get into the rest of our outro spiel, we just want to give a big, big thank you to all of our patrons. So, starting with our Sprinkles patrons, we want to say thank you to Pete, PJ, Akemi, and Miles. Moving on to our Whipped Cream patrons, we want to say thank you to Mary and Mark M. And lastly, our Hot Fudge patrons, thank you to Mark D, Mackenzie, AJ, and Aaron. We thank you so much for being our patrons. We hope you're enjoying our Licorice live action review of Hanayori Dango, Boys Over Flowers, and also our Horimiya Shonen Sunday podcast currently right now. I hope you're into all that fun stuff we've got going on over there. We have much more planned, but if you would like to follow us throughout the week, you can follow the podcast at Shoujo Sundae across all socials, which includes Blue Sky and Threads. If you want to keep up with us individually, I am Giana Luna. You can stream my debut single, Twilight Champagne, across any music platform that you prefer. And you can follow me at Giana_Luna_ across socials. On Blue Sky, it's just Giana Luna, no underscores, Giana with one N. Chika, how about you?
You can find me on Instagram. You can also find me on Blue Sky at Chika Supreme, and that's Chika with a K and not two C's.
Okay, well, guys, we will catch you next time with our Ooku the Inner Chambers finale episode. We will see you then.
Bye!